Okay, this is the scientific proof that the Earth is not a globe. Now, I made these two diagrams. It's not endorsement that the Earth is a globe. I'm making it to show you what will be if the Earth were a globe. First of all, we go to geometry, because geometry deals with shapes, distances, and all the things that you need to know. So in geometry, we say that if you have a circle and a line having one point in common with that circle, the line is called a tangent. The line has to be 90 degrees from the common point. This is common point, joining the center of the circle. The theorem is, if a tangent, if you move from the common point of the tangent, any point on the tangent will be further from the center of the circle than the common point. That means R1 is longer than R is the radius from the common point to the center of the circle. And in geometry, of course, in trigonometry or algebra, we say that R squared, this is TO, which is R1. If you square it, it's going to be the sum of the two squares, R squared plus L squared, because this is 90 degrees. Now, that means R1 is TO, and TK, that's the difference, the length that is long. The R1 is longer than R by TK. That's what I mean here. TK is equal to R1 minus R. That is H. The difference in height. As you move along the tangent and the circle, they separate. You move, the circle goes this way, the tangent goes straight. Now, let's use this knowledge on the Earth and see if this phenomena that you can observe here can be observed here. Now, let's say you find a telescope here or a laser beam, you put it here, send a beam of light 90 degrees to it has to be horizontal to the vertical, 90 degrees. That's why I put it here. As you move, if you send it to 10 miles away, this object will have a longer radius compared to the Earth than the common point, just like I showed here. And as you can see, H, that's how much an object will drop below the horizon. This is H. It's R1 minus R2. This is the circle of the Earth. So therefore, we observe an object far away, 10 miles. That object elevation must be higher than the elevation of the common point, or the telescope in this case. If you go to Chicago, across Lake Michigan, you can stand on the beach, and you can see the beach across to across Chicago. In fact, you can see Chicago from top to bottom. If the earth is a globe, you should not be able to see Chicago because some of it will hide behind the curvature. Because if you look at it horizontally, you can only see the top. And this has been proven many times. So the astrophysicists want to lie to us that that's a mirage, which is complete nonsense. We know what a mirage is, but they are doing all they can to confuse people. I can tell you with the knowledge I have that that's not a mirage. That shows the earth is flat. If the earth is not flat, you should be able to see only the tip of a building in Chicago that's more than 1,060, around 1,060 something miles. So that tells you the earth is flat. If you want to also prove the earth is flat, is you stand on the beach, take a telescope, and see how far you can see the shoreline. If the shoreline appears beyond 3 miles, you can still see it, the earth is flat. They know that. The reason why they want to confuse you is because if the earth is flat, all the nonsensical things about solar system and all the rest of it will not fit. They are lying to us. 100% they know the earth is flat. Now, besides that, I took the view that if the earth is a globe as they claim, I use this equation. Let's say a mile, an aircraft is flying at 600 miles per hour. So it goes how many miles per minute? 10 miles. Now I took that equation, I put it here. That means h, how much the aircraft is changing direction. I'm not saying it's falling. Falling means it completely changing direction for it to catch up with the radius of the earth. So I found out that h, how much the aircraft will go down, will be 66.6 feet per minute. That is 1.1 feet per second. It's like riding a carousel of 10 feet radius, and you will have, and it's going at around 4 feet, 4 revs per minute. So when they tell you that the earth is a globe, complete nonsense. It's not possible. The earth is completely flat. That's the reason you can fly over the earth. You have no G-force. If the earth is a globe, you will experience G-force. They are lying to us. They know that. It's not that they don't know, but they think we are not smart enough or they have their own agenda. If the earth is a globe, if the earth is not a globe, they will not be able to add all this stupid idea that the earth is moving. The earth is not moving. The earth is flat, exactly what the Bible says. And in the next one, I'm going to show you how we can calculate the height of the sun and the moon. This is not a complex mathematics. It's very easy. They know it, but they're trying to hide it because that's why they told the sun is 93 million miles away, which is complete nonsense. As you can see, if you take this, I come back here so you know exactly, I'm not telling the earth is this way. If you stand here, which is the common point, and send a beam of light, anything that you see, all you have to do to prove the earth is flat is measure the elevation here and measure the elevation of the object that you see or the beam of light hit, and compare these two elevations. If they are the same, the earth is flat. If this one is higher than this, the earth is a globe, or a convex, we call it. This is the presentation to prove that the earth is flat. It cannot be, the earth cannot be a globe. It's impossible. They know that. Neil deGrasse and all his gang of liars, they are determined to mislead us, because if the earth is not a globe, they cannot explain where they got their solar system. 100%, they cannot explain. It doesn't fit in. That's why the Bible does not have a solar system, because it doesn't exist. There's no solar system in the universe that we know. First of all, the universe is geocentric. It's not heliocentric. The sun is small, and I'm going to show you exactly how far the sun is from the earth. Now, let me give you, the next thing is I'm going to prove to you that the sun is very close. So take this out. Let's see. Now, I want you to see, as I already shown, that the earth is flat. If the earth is flat, that means the longitudes are straight lines. They are not curved. They are not curved. The only circle you can get is the latitude. And there are circles that spread out. The closer they are to the North Pole, the smaller they are. The sun moves around the North Pole. So how are we going to calculate the height of the sun? Now I want you to see, I selected two latitudes. The latitudes I selected are 25 degrees north. The reason why it's 25 degrees north is the sun is never on 25. It goes at 23 and a half, so to speak. And I selected another latitude, 45 degrees. Between them is 20 degrees. There's only one longitude. This is 105 in the United States. You can change it to another continent. These are the two. So I put a sextant here, X1. Its location is going to be 25 degrees north and 105 west. The other sextant will be 45 degrees north and 105 west. We want to measure the angle of elevation of the sun when the sun is exactly on 105 west. These 2 points, the sun, sextant 1, sextant 2, they have to be on the same plane, a vertical plane. It should not lean. This one should not pass here or before here, the 105 west. Now, we installed sextant on X1 and X2 to measure angle alpha and angle beta. Angle alpha, angle beta. Once you measure that angle, now we go to the next step where that's how you calculate H is the height of the sun to the earth. The distance from the two sextants is L. We know that that's 20 degrees between them, but you see, L is equal to x2 minus x1, which is equal to 45 degrees north. This L is equal to x2 minus x1. That's equal to 45 degrees north minus 25 degrees north. That's 20 degrees. We know that 1 degree is equal to 69 miles, approximately. Because remember, these numbers are taken with the assumption that the Earth is a globe, and it's not correct. But I will use them because these are concrete values. They are not 100%, but they are very close. Now, 20 degrees, that will be 69 miles, times 20, that will be 1,380 miles from sextant 1 and sextant 2. When you want to measure these angles, you have to make sure the sun is right over here, and you do it simultaneously. You don't measure this and come and measure this. All the angles must be measured simultaneously. Now I'm going to give you another diagram that will tell you how to get how to deduce an equation that will tell you how high the sun is. Now I'm going to turn Now, I want you to see exactly the continuation of that. If you have forgotten your trigonometry, in this triangle, if you have A, B, C, you see always, this is a capital, the angle is represented by uppercase letter, and the side opposite it is represented by a lowercase of the same letter. So this is A because it's opposite to A. This is B because it's opposite to B. And this is C because it's opposite to C. The formula is A over sine A is equal to B over sine B, and it's equal to C over sine C. Now, I want you to be familiarized with this so we can go back to the equation that how we can deduct the formula. If you remember the diagram I showed you on the other side, I can project it here. L over sine theta is equal to B over sine beta. From this equation, we know that beta is equal to L sine, B is equal to L sine beta divided by sine theta. But we also know the other triangle. We know that sine alpha is equal to H over B. So therefore, H is equal to B sine alpha. We substitute B in the equation. We have L sine beta, which is this, divided by sine theta times sine alpha. This is the height of the sun. Anybody that tells you the sun is 93 million miles away, either is stupid or is trying to deceive you. That's the height of the sun. All we need to do is measure the angles better, make sure we put the distance, and alpha and beta, measure those angles, and sine theta is sine alpha minus sine beta. As you can see, theta is equal to alpha minus sine beta, so therefore as the angle B approaches the value of alpha, theta becomes 0 and height becomes infinity. In other words, the two sextant, this is sextant 1 for this angle, and this is sextant 2 for this angle. When they are almost parallel, then h, which is the height of the sun, approaches infinity. For them to have 93 million miles, the two sextant 1 and sextant 2 will almost have to be parallel. The angle, that means an angle beta is almost equal to angle alpha. I am 100% sure that possibility. I have to go and measure those angles, and I'm sure it will not happen. That's why I said for the sun to be 93 million miles away, the two sextant, the sun, the light coming from the sun have to be parallel, and it's not almost parallel, and it's not the case. This is the equation to calculate the height of the sun. If you are a professor of mathematics or a student, I want you to debunk this equation. I want you to remember what I said when I showed you the diagram, how you can set it up. So I ask anybody, not only, especially Neil deGrasse, a lion chief. He says all kinds of things to wiggle himself. He represents the most deceptive organization, NASA, to destroy the belief. The thing is, they are trying to prove that the Bible is wrong. The Bible is a fairy tale. They are creating a stupid universe, which is not true. It's not possible. This is the equation to the sun. The sun is very small. Very small. You're talking about less than 40 miles. There is no solar system because the earth cannot go around an object which is just about, you see, I took the value of alpha, 80 degrees, and beta, I put it 72. I got a distance from the earth, h, less than 10,000 miles. If we measure these two angles, these are the only two angles you need to measure. And make sure you put the latitudes and the longitudes are correct. The distance. So you have the one I just said, 1,380 miles. You can go back. That's the length of L based on the calculation. I took 20 degrees, and each degree is 69 miles. Multiplied by 20 is 80 miles. When you put it in this equation, all you need to do is measure the angle beta, which is the sextant furthest, further than the other one. Alpha is the one nearest to the equator. And of course, sine theta is the difference of the two. If you look at the equation, I'll turn it again so you can see exactly what I mean by that. I want you to take this equation, and if you know, try to, if you think I'm wrong, I want you to debunk it and give me an answer. Don't just cook. Let me revise this again so you know exactly what I mean. Let me see. Okay, now maybe I can edit it. Now let me go back so you remember what I said. You put your sextant 1 to measure angle alpha. Let me see. I can't see this. Okay, as you can see, you measure this angle, the other one, the original videos, okay. You measure this angle, distance between them is 1,380 miles. That's the value. Angle alpha, angle beta. If the sun is very far away, this angle will almost come close to being equal. Angle beta and angle alpha will almost be equal. And based on that, the sun, if the sun is 93 million miles away, these two angles will almost be equal. So when they are telling the sun is 93 million miles away, it's complete nonsense. They are just making it up. This is exactly in line with the Bible. The Bible said the sun is close. It's just there to illuminate the earth. Illuminate the earth. There is no such thing as solar system. They are just making it up. It's a stupid idea, in fact, when you look at it. The sun is so close that you don't need to be a scientist to know it's close. You just triangulate this, you get the answer. And that's my main objective. I want to make sure I perform this experiment to prove where the sun is. I'm sure it's going to be less than 10,000 or even the region of 5,000, not 93 million miles. These people are not. They lying to us. You can see the lie. That their goal is to tell us the Bible is a fairy tale. That's their goal. No more than that. And they know they are lying. So when they tell you that we're going to launch a rocket to go to the moon, well, because most of us don't understand what they are talking about. We look at it because what they are saying is true. Nobody goes to the moon. Nobody can. Once you know that the sun and the moon, they are about the same height, they are less than 10,000, I can say 5,000 miles up, all their stories will fall apart. So look at this, install sextant on X1 and X2 to measure alpha and beta. And once you measure it, you put this value, you can know exactly where the sun is.